I don't know if I'm going to get through this whole thing, but it's going to be pretty great. So, it's very, very, very rare for a communist like myself, a rabid Antifa shitlid Democrat like myself, to put on a Fox News segment and agree with it. But it's happened. Let's watch. All right, let's skip this bullshit.
I mean, the topic is about drugs. I can't say if the panelists are all on drugs, but let's just say the dogs hired by security to sniff for contraband started humping Kat's book bag and then passed out from a contact high. R.I.P. dogs. But first, Harris Faulkner is.
So I really need to talk about how unfunny Greg Gutfeld is. Like, I know, right? He's unfunny. But he's on Fox News speaking to Republicans who worship everything he says, and he's being pro-drug. So let's just listen to it, right? Let's just listen to it. Let's hear him out, and let's see. That, like, again, Fox News is now against the drug war.
I wonder what she could be happy about.
I'm happy about this because just 15 minutes ago, the tattoo that I had of Greg Gutfeld on my thigh, like lower thigh, like by my knee, by my knee, it's gone.
Wow.
I saw it. Bye, Greg.
You think I would not include that in the show, Harris?
And my husband now has to see that twice.
Yes, well.
Okay, I don't care about this.
But, and, I'm very excited. We got a first-time guest, Dr. Carl Hart. Carl is a professor
I ran out of characters,
psychology
Anastasia.
at Columbia. Relax, Cat. He doesn't do outpatients. But Dr. Hart, where's that book? Dr. Hart wrote one of the bravest books you're going to find, Drug Use for Grown-Ups. Oh, there it is. That was my major at Berkeley. I still can't believe he didn't ask me to write the foreword. So the book is about legalizing drugs. It might piss some of you off, but that's what the drugs are for. But the book isn't just about legalizing the easy ones like pot or mushrooms or the window cleaner that Cat mixes with Gatorade. But heroin. Now, this is when people say, no, not heroin.
So again, I hate this little animation of this. But again, this is Fox News. Now again, the guy's not that funny, right? Like, it's kind of cringeworthy to watch. But again, I think it's a big deal when Fox News, a far-right news network, is all of a sudden saying that we need to legalize heroin. I think, hey, and now I just want to say, this is one of my, I take, the drug war, I think, is one of my biggest political projects personally. I think that it is one of the largest crimes against humanity. The outlawing of drugs and then, drawing these bizarre red lines where, like, alcohol, God bless it, is legal, but marijuana isn't. I think that is bizarre, right? So I think that the war on drugs as a society, as a culture, I think is one of the biggest setbacks in human history. I'm not going to lie, right? So again, this is something that I take to be a huge win for that. Like, if there are people out there that watch this and go like, oh, damn, maybe I should advocate to end the drug war. That's good. That's good.
It does. The lost souls on the streets, haunting city corners like ghostly zombies, living for a fix. That's true. We indeed have problems. But here's the deal. That's happening while the drugs are illegal. Yet they're easier to get than COVID. Even my cat is dealing drugs. Could have been more subtle.
That's pretty funny. I'm not going to lie. I'm not laughing, but it's funny.
While we pour billions into a drug war, not unlike Afghanistan, we just keep getting our ass kicked. We fund other countries' militaries to fight the drug trade, then let anyone walk across the border with a bindle up their butt. It's more counterproductive than a broom that shoots glitter. In 2019, over 70,000 people died from overdoses in the U.S. That's 70,000 more people than have read Kilmeade's new book. Make a joke about drug death. But during the pandemic, that number exploded, probably because we were all trapped inside watching CNN. But what is causing this wave of death? Don't blame prescription opioids, because as we cut down on that, the death rates skyrocket. No, today overdoses are driven by fentanyl. And like the coronavirus and cheap patio furniture, it's made in China. It comes through our southern border, and it's mixed into other street drugs to kick it up a notch. It's basically hamburger.
So I don't really know why or how they're pulling like the anti-China stuff in it. So again, I don't think that this is relevant to the situation. But again, they're trying to sell ending the drug war to far-right Republican racists who don't believe in science. Right? So again, hey, I take this as a win. I'm going to see how much more I can stomach of this. But again, I am very shocked and surprised that something like this exists.
Burger helper for junkies. Tell us, Lara Logan.
When the pandemic hit, we realized, without China, we got no antibiotics.
Right.
We got no medical equipment. So what did they do to change that? Mm-hmm. Nothing. Right? And when China got all that capability, that's how they found the analogs for fentanyl, which they then introduced as a street drug, made a deal with the Mexican cartels, and now they've got, how many Americans are dying every year, and we hear nothing about it. I mean, go to San Francisco, nobody cares that you got people standing on the street, pissing on themselves, and, and defecating everywhere, and unable to function. And what do they say? Well, let's reduce the mandatory minimum sentencing for fentanyl. That's what the Biden administration Justice Department is working on right now.
So, during 12 months of the pandemic, nearly 100,000 Americans have died from ODs. That's a 30% jump. Experts blame it on the stay-at-home orders. I don't buy it, because when it comes to this stuff, the government is like our president's underpants, full of crap. I feel bad just saying that. But especially when it comes to health, it's true. Remember the nutrition pyramid? It was everywhere. Classrooms, waiting rooms, the shed where I keep the au pair. But also cereal boxes. Yeah, imagine that. A box of carbs says you should stuff your face with carbs. Sadly, my
folks, again, I need to remind you all, this is Fox News. Fox News is advocating, hey, I don't know what's going on in the world. I think there's a glitch in the simulation. Fox News is advocating to end the drug war, and they are making fun of the food pyramid. Hey, that's a double win. That's huge.
I had a typo, and I was eating 30 pounds of crabs a month. But a cereal company telling you to eat more carbs. It's like the diamond industry, telling you how many months' salary you should spend on an engagement ring. We thought we were following the science, but we should have been following the money. Cookie Crisp had parents thinking kids started their day right by eating a bowl of cookies. It's amazing.
Folks, I would like to remind us, again, I know this is a very non-standard, I'm trying to still wrap my brain around this, right? Fox News is mocking 95% of Americans who don't know how to feed themselves. Again, folks, there was a 2019 study that found only 5% of American citizens know how to fucking eat food. What I mean by that, the study found only 5% of Americans eat enough fiber for the dietary guidelines that they laid out. Now, personally, I think the dietary guidelines are a little low. They're on the low end. So only about 5% of Americans are getting the bare minimum amount of fiber in their diets. What is fiber found in? Vegetables, right? So that means 95% of Americans are afraid of eating vegetables, right? Hey, I didn't say it. Fox News said it. Fox News said it. Hey, I'm just saying. It's weird. It's strange.
Stories about fake doctors tricking women into physical checkups. That's what this is. And yes, I stopped doing it years ago. They repossessed my van. But this chart was dead wrong and deadly. You had processed carbs in huge quantities, turning healthy kids into mini Bryant Stelters. Right now, our adult obesity rate is 42%, up from 34% just 10 years earlier. The only thing rising faster is our blood sugar. So what's that got to do with drugs? Well, the same people who lied about food are lying about drugs. Right now, when the government or media reports ODs, just like the crime stats, they never get specific. They never tell the whole truth. It's about illegal fentanyl, not prescription drugs. And it's not overdoses, it's poisonings. People buy drugs with fentanyl in it, and they die. Including people.
So really what this story is, I don't know if he's going to get into it here, because I'm going to be honest, I haven't seen the clip all the way through. But what's happening here is, again, people are buying what they believe is something like heroin or what they believe is something like a Percocet, but instead it's cut with fentanyl, which is a much stronger kind of version of these drugs. And so they're overdosing because they're taking a dose that they are under the assumption that is easy for them to handle, but it's not, right? It would be like if I were drinking a shot of vodka or something and it turns out it was Everclear. Whoops, I didn't sign up for that, but let's say I'm pounding back 4 shots of vodka, but wait, they're 4 shots of Everclear. Now I've got alcohol poisoning. That's kind of the idea here, is a lot of these drugs are cut with fentanyl, right? And that's because the whole entire drug trade is unregulated, and it's a cutthroat capitalist industry where people are trying to maximize their profits. And because they're not even worried about the law, because the whole thing is black market to begin with, they're going to be maximizing profits as much as they possibly can. And so that's why you end up with a lot of these batches of all kinds of drugs that are cut with things like fentanyl. And it's resulting in a lot of overdose deaths, right? And because, again, if you're taking 3 pills and you know that you can handle up to 5, but you want to get a really good buzz or whatever, turns out those 3 pills are really equivalent to 12. Whoops, you're dead now? Hey, what the hell's going on here?
That from Tom Petty to Michael K. Williams to athletes and actors. But the people you heard of dying of opiate overdoses, it's actually fentanyl poisoning. Not prescriptions, but a poison used to kill people deliberately. It's the biggest story you aren't hearing because all you hear is the word overdoses. And the worst part of this, patients who rely on legal opioids for cancer, pain, and other diseases can't get them because we've conflated safe drugs with fentanyl. But that's pretending 2 totally different things are the same, like CNN and news. Long way for a joke. When it's really actually terrorism, and it drives legal users to illegal stuff, and they die because they can't control the dosage. Or like hot dogs, they just don't know what's in it. Imagine you could only buy cigarettes illegally, but one cigarette had 1,000 times the nicotine. You would die, or at least sound like Cat. But instead, you can go to any market and buy a carton. In San Francisco, they even let you take it. But the dosage is controlled. Meanwhile, stats show addiction is actually rare among prescription opioids, and overdoses are nearly impossible to find. I bet you didn't know that, because we're operating on the lie of all drugs bad and punish the law-abiding. Here's an analogy you'll understand. What's the biggest complaint by gun owners? No, it's not that the gun jams when watching The View. It's that the laws punish the law-abiding while doing nothing about illegal guns fueling street violence. It's the same argument here. We punish the law-abiding and let the lawless kill.
So I don't necessarily think that this is a perfect analogy here, but again, I'm going to stop this whole segment here because they're just going to do a bunch of bullshit. But again, I think that this is incredible. I think that the idea that Fox News is mainstreaming, and again, they're wrapping it around their xenophobia against China. They're wrapping it around hating Democrats and CNN, of course. Right, this is Fox News. But again, they are trying to sell the idea that we need to end the war on drugs. And that's a win. And again, I know Gutfeld is cringy and not funny, so I'm not going to watch any more of this. I'm sorry for subjecting to you that so much as I did. But again, I feel like this is a very interesting time because now we're seeing far right-wing lunatics also saying, yeah, maybe this whole drug war thing was a waste of our time and energy, right? That's a win. That's a win. I don't know what to tell you. I think it's a win. And so I wanted to share that.